Hi, a very good afternoon. My name is Vartika. I'm from Sesame Workshop, and I'll be talking about the Radiophone project today. Just to give you a background about the organization, Sesame Workshop has been working in India for the last 7 years. We primarily work on content development for young children from the age group of 0 to 8. And uh, I think you might be all aware of the television series Gali Gali Sim Sim, which comes on Doordarshan and Cartoon Network in Pogo. So apart from using television as a platform for content distribution, we also create content and disseminate content through other platforms like radio, print, through our outreach projects as well. So the main aim is to prepare these young children better for school and for life. Now, going on to talk about the Radiophone project, I know we're a little short of time, so I'll just make it really quick. And I also have a small video which we'd like to share, but I think we'll be doing that tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. So, given that the context we all live in, considering the diversities in terms of language, culture, geography, we are all also aware of the fact that there is lack of access to television. However, what people have access to is radio and mobile phones. So we thought, what better a platform than to combine both and provide content through this, hence the Radiophone project. In this, we have converged technologies of radio, mobiles, 3G, to provide educational content for meeting the needs of marginalized children from migrant communities who also might be out of school. So a set of 90 radio episodes were created on various themes like social, emotional health, health, hygiene, nutrition, literacy and math, and these were disseminated through 10 community radio stations in North and Central India. Now, one challenge is that because we primarily produce content in Hindi, so we had to choose stations in the Hindi speaking belt. Like I said, we used the platform of radio and mobiles to disseminate this content to ensure that we reach the last mile. And we also use this project to advocate for community level advocacy, local issues through community events, dialoguing with the local governing bodies, and so on. So these are the core content areas that we focused on. I have short snippets of the program. I'll just play one. टिकट हो या ना हो ये गाड़ी चल पड़े गली गली सिम सिम गली गली सिम सिम
या ये सुनो यारों, मेरी एकदम नई और सुरीली धुन। देखा, मेरी तो बात ही कुछ और है। किसी भी चीज से म्यूजिक बना लेता हूँ। चलो।
So this is just the beginning. So we start with the title track. We go on to this character called Grover who talks in this Punjabi accent. So considering that we had to give out these messages through a purely audio medium, we had to ensure that it was engaging, entertaining content, yet taking messages to the communities and the children. So this was just a snippet of the story. All these episodes are created on internationally researched formats, but to ensure that there is local flavor and connectivity, we also included local voices in the form of Vox Pop, which was produced and given by Sesame to the radio stations, and also helped community radio stations create community segments which would capture the voices of the community from the area and hence have pre-canned content by them over their radio station. So There is one sample of the vox pop that I'm going to play out.
बुम्बा बता रहा था कि हमारे चारों तरफ गिनती होती है और हमारे शरीर में भी गिनती है। सचमुच? चलो मुक्तेश्वर चल के अपने दोस्तों से पूछती हूँ उनके शरीर में गिनती है या नहीं। क्या तुम्हारे शरीर में गिनती है? हाँ, मेरे शरीर में तो एक है। पता है कैसे? कैसे? एक नाक, एक मुंह, एक दिल। तो बताओ तुम्हारे शरीर में दो कितने हैं?
2 आँख, 2 कान, 2 हाथ, 2 पैर।
So like this, we had our Muppet go to different areas, capture voices from various areas to also, and this specific content went on to all the radio stations, unlike the community segments which were specific local content. So this also gives the children a flavor of the diversity that they live in, the different areas, the kind of things. So like in one of the episodes there was a question like Loki ko kya bolte hain? So each area had a different term for that word. So kids would get used to these kind of concepts also. This slides goes on to explain the integrated approach that we followed in this project. Like I mentioned, we had local community segments which were played out to give a local flavor to the content. Grins is a technology that Gramvani helped us provide to the community radio stations, which is a plug-and-play server which helps CR stations manage broadcasts. So conduct live interactions, archive content, play out. Then radio over telephone is another facility that Gramvani, our technology partners, developed for us, which I'm going to be talking about later in the part of the presentation. Then, like I mentioned, we also advocated for, promoting local issues, taking it up with the local governance so that people feel connected with the program. Also, their issues get resolved. So it also gave the community radio stations a direct interaction platform with the communities that they were producing content from and for. Sesame, all projects that Sesame does have are backed up by research, and here our third-party research was primarily a very participatory sort of research that was conducted, both qualitative and quantitative research. So now specifically to move on about mobile phone usage within this project, like we've all been talking about that we know that community radio is primarily a one-way broadcast medium. Content creation, however, is a very participatory tool there, but when you broadcast, people just listen and there's no means of essentially calling back and leaving your feedback. So Gramvani actually helped us develop this technology which was called radio over telephone. It's a similar missed call system. So each community radio station was given a unique number which was allocated to them, which they promoted by means of a promo. They conducted certain on-ground activities, created small purchase which they distributed within the community to promote and advocate for this number. They were required to upload the content that they were playing on the radio station, the Gully Gully Sim Sim content specifically, on a server. People would leave a missed call on that unique number and they would get a call back to be able to access this content. Now, there was a facility of also leaving comments, but I think because it was such a new concept for the communities, that people were still trying to explore how it works, because there were lots of comments that we got where people would call and they'll just say hello, hello, then expecting a response in return. But it was quite interesting. Then this mechanism also provided the communities the facility of calling at any given point in time and access the content from anywhere at no financial implications. So like we've been talking that we know essentially the mobile phone is in the hands of the father in the house, and when parents come back home after work is when the kid will have access to be able to tell them that, okay, I want to listen to this content, if you can call into the number. And then it also promoted community listening, so the family would listen to the program together as a unit. I'll be talking very briefly about some of the impact that we've got through this project. So like I mentioned, there's been qualitative and quantitative assessment both. And the kind of stories that we got as part of this project were really interesting and heartwarming for us, because although it was a short project for about, year and a half of implementation, but getting calls from listeners about changes in quality of life, about changes in learning levels of children, about behavior changes. So small changes, like children calling and telling that we started brushing teeth because we heard Chamki in a radio episode and she brushes twice in a day. So she's our friend, so we will now take this up as a habit. Parents calling and sharing that, I bought a toy for my child 2 days back, but they've broken it, and I was really angry and I wanted to scold them. But when I heard one of the Gully Gully Sim Sim episodes, it made me realize that children are bound to make mistakes, and we as parents have to help them through this process and guide them. So these are very small changes that were seen from the stories that the radio stations shared. And this project also enabled the reporters. It gave them another identity of a researcher, because they were conducting the research through mind maps, through more significant change stories, conducting FGDs with the community. So it was a, I think, empowering feeling for the reporters as well. This graph just shows some of the episodes which were most liked on the ROT mechanism by the number of calls that it received across all the CR stations that we worked with. Now specifically, because we're talking about UP, I'd just like to mention a few things about a community radio station that we worked with here in Kanpur. We worked with Waqt Ki Awaaz, which is run by Shramik Bharti. When we started interacting with them, their community radio station was still not on air. We started with the whole training process on how to script, how to produce the top and tail for the pre-canned content that we were giving them. They started broadcast with Gully Gully Sim Sim in August 2012, and they shared that this was the first dedicated children's program on their community radio station, which was a great thing for them, because it also provided them with a platform to give the children an opportunity to come to the community radio station, voice their opinions, share their views, and also ultimately, they conducted small programs with the help of these young children. And since they had just started broadcast, it was only on air for 3 hours. So the radio over telephone mechanism really helped them reach their community. So I mean, if the content is available through live broadcast only for 3 hours, then how do you ensure that your community or the children listen to the content? So radio over telephone played a very significant role here. That's pretty much it. And if you have time, I can play the video right now. It's about 4.5 minutes. Yeah, it's just to summarize the entire project.
Millions of families in India are unable to access information that can help children grow up healthy, happy and ready to learn. Sesame Workshop India's radiophone project combines community radio platform and cell phones to make educational media accessible to children and caregivers in marginalized and highly migrant communities.
49% of people in India do not have access to television. What they do have access to, however, is radio and cell phones.
Community radio is limited to a very small geographical region. Also that you always broadcast in the local dialect. how do we take this world-class content, how do we bring it to community radio and make it relevant to our local context?
The Radiophone project reaches 10 diverse communities with laughter and learning as Gully Gully Sim Sim characters talk about learning letters and numbers and the importance of hygiene.
We had to prepare more than 1,000 questions and had to get 3 different answers from the same questions to get a regional flavor.
We included a Vox Box segment wherein we went to the community to ensure that their voices were heard. This really helped us capture and sustain their interest for the program and also impact child learning outcomes.
My role in Radiophone's content creation process was to work with the creative team to make sure that the episodes find the right mixture of entertainment and education.
The primary challenge was to establish an effective communication with children and to ensure that the educational messages were absorbed even without the visuals of the popular characters of Gully Gully Sim Sim.
We were told that the stories need to be quick, fun, and nothing that the children can't imagine.
Stories would always have a specific takeaway or an ed goal, which is called educational goal. The story was about hand washing. So the kid who is listening to the program, we made sure that he or she remembers, having listened to the episode, that it is very, very important to wash your hands.
Sesame Workshop India has also equipped the community radio stations with an upgraded technology that allows interactivity and enhances reach.
In today's day and age where mobile phone penetration growing by leaps and bounds, everybody has a mobile phone now. What if people could just call in at any time during the day and listen to this radio broadcast? We invented an interesting concept over here through a missed call system that people just have to place a missed call in our server and then the server automatically within 30 seconds calls them back.
Our involvement in the project helped 10 community radio stations in sharing their best practices, strengthening their network, and also sharing their experiential learning.
Additional ground events strengthen the interactivity between the program and the communities.
As a whole, if you look at it, this is an innovative exercise in bringing together several principles of participation at the content creation level, at the research level, at the impact assessment level, and the core principles are that of involving the communities in the analysis of their own development.
बच्चे खेल खेल में अच्छी चीज़ें सीख रहे हैं और हम ये नहीं कहते हैं कि बहुत बड़ा बदलाव किसी एक कार्यक्रम से होता है, लेकिन अगर वो उस बारे में सोचता है, उस बारे में उसे जानकारी मिलती है, तो वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा बदलाव है एक समुदाय के लिए.
कई बार तो जब हमें कॉल्स आती हैं हमारे श्रोताओं की, जो हेलो सिम सिम एक पार्ट है गली गली सिम सिम का, उसके अंतर्गत तो बैठ के लोग कार्यक्रम सुनते हैं. उस कार्यक्रम के दौरान हमने देखा है कि लोगों में उत्साह, उनमें एक ललक पैदा हो रही है कि हम अपनी बातों को बोलें, अपने मन की बात हम बाहर निकालें. तो जैसे कि हम नाश्ते की बात अगर कहीं पर आती है कि क्योंकि सारे जो सदस्य हैं, मेंबर्स हैं, वो साथ साथ सुनते हैं. वहाँ पर बच्चे भी बैठे होते हैं, वहाँ पर बड़े लोग भी बैठे होते हैं, उनकी माँ जो नाश्ता तैयार करती हैं वो भी बैठी होती हैं. तो ये जो आपस में एक समझ विकसित होती है और वो इकट्ठे बैठ के होती है, तो इसका बहुत ही अच्छा एक गुण है इस कार्यक्रम का.
Every broadcast of Gully Gully Sim Sim entertains as it engages children, caregivers, and communities. Shakil of village Bhadas in Mewat attends school regularly now. Sneha makes sure she has a healthy breakfast every single day. Vikesh has discovered a technique to forward calls from his mobile so that people just like him can access Gully Gully Sim Sim and benefit from the show. Communities are learning to manage time so that girls can go to school. And these are the changes that are unlocking possibilities for children and communities.